was an honor when you asked me.
Thanks,
so what
man.
I'm getting at is, these guys, man, I mean, at the end of the day, radio people, if they don't have a big ego, it means a lot when they are asked to go on another show. So if there's anybody you like, man, I mean, just ask them, because we're not Tom Cruise where you have to go through an agent.
Right.
So basically, it's just about reaching out, and I'm such a nerd and such a geek for radio that it's one of those things where I listen to so much that I listen to shows in Omaha,
Yeah, me too.
St.
Me too.
Louis,
Yeah.
and obviously Tampa, and my hometown of Chicago, that it's one of those things where I just go, I want them to know who I am, and them to know who I am, just because I want to get my name out there. So that's kind of why I do it.
That's pretty cool. Where, if you don't mind me asking, whereabouts from Chicago are you?
I'm from Mount Prospect,
Mount
the good old
Prospect.
mean block.
Heck yeah, man. I'm from Schaumburg myself. Actually, I worked for Walgreens data terminal repair back in the early 90s over in Mount
Are you
Prospect.
serious, dude?
Yeah, I swear to God. I'm a huge Cubs fan. I grew up in Schaumburg, and I lived in Elk Grove Village. I lived in Palatine. I went to Conant High School, man, you know.
I went to Hershey, dude, to represent those
Nice.
Hershey Huskies, man.
That's awesome, dude. That's totally cool. Yeah, I love that. So, all right, if I got a couple other questions real quick for you, if you don't mind.
It's all good.
Can I ask you questions about the bone? Is that cool?
Yeah, if there's one I can't answer, I won't, but yeah, you can.
Okay. I was just wondering who's your favorite broadcaster on the show.
There are so many guys here that it's hard to pick, but I literally listen to The Bone all day long. There's really not a show that's my favorite. And I'm not even just saying that because I work in promotion, but it's such a unique format that you have Mike Kelta, you have Roger and JP, Drew, Johnny B, Mo, Gio, Soul Brother Kevin, Seth.
Yeah.
I love Loveline because I never paid attention in health class, so I learned something. I love Billy Madison because when I'm delivering pizzas, that show makes me laugh. And
Yep.
I've talked to Derek and Nard. They're all great guys.
Cool.
So, to me, what I like about The Bone is it's very unique, and there's no copycats, and everyone gets along in the hallway. I just love being a part of Cox Media. I love Miguel at Hot 101.5. I love talking to Ann Kelly from the Dove. Like,
Cool.
it's just, I'm so happy to be here that there really isn't a favorite. I mean, I have favorite shows like Opie and Jimmy, and I like listening to Howard and Anthony Cumia and Mike Kelta and Drew. But there's really not a favorite I have here because everybody's so unique that I respect it. And that's what I look up to.
Cool. I appreciate that. Do you have a favorite podcast?
Well, what's weird about podcasts is I usually listen to shows that are on the radio, but then they podcast their show.
Yeah.
So here's the list. I'll do the short one. I like the Riz show. It's on in St. Louis. I like Todd and Tyler. They're on in Omaha. Bob and Brian in Milwaukee. Dave and Chuck the Freak. But those are FM talk shows that are on like a rock format.
Yeah.
I love The Bone. I just had Tom Van from A Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan on. So I like that. I like Adam Carolla.
I love Adam Carolla, yeah.
Any type of show that's for like the male demographic, I'm a big fan of, because we're a bunch of uptight pussies that get offended by red coffee cups and when people speak their mind. So when you have guys like Mike Kelta, Drew, Adam Carolla, anybody with this format that speaks their mind, that's what I respect. So usually I get drawn into that format.
Me too. Agreed. Did you ever listen to Loveline back when Adam Carolla was on it with Dr. Drew?
I was too young, but I have listened on YouTube, and there's a site that has like every episode ever, man. I mean, the way Dr. Drew and Adam go back and forth, man, it's gold.
It was, man. I when I was a pizza guy, 15, 18 years ago, we used to turn the music off and put Loveline on when it would come on, back on 98 Rock when it was on late at night. And we'd jam that through the place, and the doors were locked, and customers couldn't come in, and they could talk all dirty, whatever. And we laughed our butts off, man. That was really good radio. It really was.
And what I love about it now is Mike does a really good job, because back then Adam knew what he was talking about, but he was more of the funny guy. But I actually learned things on Loveline. I've always been a fan of Loveline, but I just love that they keep getting calls, and it's something new every time. And I'm just always been a big fan of Dr. Drew. I mean, he's humble, and he knows what he's talking about. And you can tell that he really cares about helping each and every one of his listeners just by the way he talks. So I'm like you, man. I've always been a really big fan of Love Line.
Yeah, me too. I think what really comes out with Dr. Drew is the fact that he's a real doctor. If he wasn't doing a radio show, he would probably be practicing in a similar manner. You could tell he cares either way. You know what I mean?
That's what I love about people in radio. I love the ones that love what they do and that are real. I hate people that put on this act and they act like tough guys. And this is just anybody in radio that lets you get through their head. That's what I love about the phone. Everybody's a big family, and they're just about putting out entertainment. So that is very true about Dr. Drew. Like, even with your show, my show, anybody's show, at the end of the day, to put on a good show, you just need to turn on the mic and be yourself.
Yeah.
So many shows try to put on this act, and that's what I try to not do with Hoppe Hour. Sometimes I let it get to my head and I rant a little bit, but I mean,
and then you get punched really hard for your football picks, and
I don't know if you could tell, but I use my right arm because it's not as weak as the left one. Right. And when I got punched in the left one, what happened was I couldn't work out for 4 days. So
that sucks. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm like, yeah, let's do my right arm this week, so it's a lot better.
I watched that Periscope a couple days ago, whatever it was, yesterday or the day before, and I don't really watch a lot of Periscope, but I get the alert on my phone, so I figured I'd tune in. And I was really curious to see the studio again and what it looks like in there and whatnot. And I watched Spanish hit Carmen, and he's like, "Oh, it slipped off." Oh, and you could tell he was going easy on her. But then Galvin got up and just pummeled her. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that. She's a girl, dude. But yeah, it is what it is, man. If you don't mind me asking, what's the worst thing you've ever done in studio anywhere?
Well, what I love about The Bone is, they tease me, they make fun of my voice, but there's no exploitation and there's no bullying, which is something I respect. To me, it's more like they want to see how tough I am and if I can deal with it. It's more like a radio frat house, but not dad hazing. Yeah. But there was this one time that I worked in radio between January and March, and some of the things they had me do for the initiation was put pubic hair on my face for St. Patrick's Day. Everybody shaved their pubes.
Oh, dude.
We put it in a bowl, we mixed it up, and we super glued it to our face or whatever if we got something wrong about presidents. And I got everything wrong because I didn't pay attention in school. So I had a whole face of pubic hair.
Wow.
Lost about 50 followers that day online. And then also, they made me sniff the female anchor's foot cheese as an initiation. And it's one of those things where when you're on a big show, you feel like you're doing the right thing, but when you look back, I should have defended myself. And then another thing they made me do, which you look back and you go, man, I was their bitch. They mixed in a bowl. They put in really hard liquor, like really gross beer, like very hard beer. They put in that green wasabi and then green paste. And what they did was they mixed it up, and if I could drink at this event, they had me drink that. So that's what I love about The Bone is that they're not bullies. I mean, they punch me in the arm, but everybody gets punched in the arm. But nobody in life ever said, I've had pubic hair on my face. I had a sniff foot cheese. So that's my approach to radio, is that you just got to be nice, man, because, they would never do that to anybody in real life. It gets through their head because at times, dude, and I'm sure you could tell this when you were on Mike's show a few years ago, it doesn't feel like people are listening. You're in a room, and you feel like you're just talking to the people in the room.
I wasn't in there. I was on the phone, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's sad when people have to resort to bullying because you think that just 6 people are listening, man. So that's something I will never do in radio, which is demean people.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that, man. And going back to your voice, I think you have a good voice. It's probably a bit of a means to your success. I gotta put it out there though. Galvin's impersonation of you is spot on, dude. It's hilarious.
Oh, it scares me. I was listening to the best of, like, it was spot on about a month ago. It's always been spot on, but he did it perfectly. When I had a sore throat, that was when he was talking over me. Oh my God, dude, because it was literally as if I was talking, because nobody can ever do a perfect impersonation, but that was the first perfect impersonation, which is why I love Galvin, because people think that I hate him or that he hates me. I love his open letters, and I love what he does. I mean, he's a very funny guy, so I mean, I actually am laughing when he does my voice, because it's like a mix of Jesse Ventura, that movie from '04, what's it called? Crap, I'm drawing a blank,
Predator.
And then me. Yeah. I mean, Galvin is so good at voices, I mean...
Yeah. Dude, you know,
scares me.
I also remember another Hoppe bit on that show that I thought was really funny. Well, I mean, it wasn't really funny, but it was. The day that they discovered that you might have MRSA on your arm, whatever that sore was. Or whatever.
Oh, my God. And then Galvin is screaming. And I would be screaming, too, if people thought I had MRSA. It was just an infected boil. But I was so embarrassed when Galvin came out with a portable mic, and he's like, "Leave!
Yeah,
you're
get in the hallway."
And of course, I would do the same thing if a 22-year-old moron had what looked like MRSA on the arm. But I'll just never forget the shame when I'm walking down the hall and all the shows that are on air here and everybody in marketing and promotion, and they're like, "Why is Galvin yelling at you?" And I'm just like, "You'll find out." Like, I was all embarrassed. And I should be embarrassed. I should have gone. I don't know how that happened, but I'd be mad, too, if a kid brought that in.
I'm sorry I brought it up. I was.
It's all good, man.
I saw the pictures of it. Actually, recently, I was going through Twitter or whatever, and I don't remember if it was Rob's or somebody's account. I was looking through it, and I saw a couple of those pictures, and, you know, they had people, you know, with, what do you call those like, antibacterial wipes, and they were cleaning up the studio or whatever. And I remember listening to it. So it kind of brought me back to that day, and I thought it was hilarious, man. That was really funny. I wanted to, that day, when you guys were live, I wanted to be able to, you know, go on Facebook and see the pictures, but I was driving. I couldn't do it, you know. But anyway, yeah, sorry to bring it up. That was freaking hilarious, though. That really was. Well, listen, man, I don't want to take up your whole night. I know you're a busy guy. I really appreciate you calling me up, and I'm going to go through this and edit it nice. And
it means the world, because I've had a lot of people come up to me at events, but they go, "What's up, Tim?" And, I mean, I appreciate that, because that means people know who I am, and I'm trying to grow the brand. But I was so flattered that you wanted me to come on your show, man.
Thanks,
so, of
man.
course, I was going to come on. And I'll get you on soon, dude, on my show.
That would be great.
Grow the brand, man. I mean, I do book big names in radio, but I'm all about helping out other podcasts. So
Thanks,
at the end
yeah.
of the day, dude, it's all about helping each other out, not exploiting people, and not acting like anybody is bigger than anyone else. So
and
that's
entertaining
why I was
people.
really glad you asked me.
No, and thank you, man. No, I should be thanking you. And it's not just about, you know, helping each other out, but it's also about entertaining people. And that's why we do our podcast, you know. We have a huge network of friends and family and things like that. And we're starting to grow ourselves, you know. And to be honest with you, you know, one of the reasons I asked you, you know, how you get such good interviews all the time is because I'm doing the same thing. And it was refreshing to hear you say what you said about just asking, because that's all I really did with you. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and ask some of my favorite, you know, people in radio and other avenues as well. You know, like there's sports teams that I follow, and people that have their own Facebook pages about the sports teams, and people that have their own podcasts about different things like that. And, you know, I got some heroes out there too, you know, and I think it's refreshing to hear that, you know, a guy like you is still out there working his butt off in the real world, but is also being very successful in radio. It's cool, you know, and hopefully someday I'll get there too. You know what I mean? But putting a product out there, you know,
anybody can get there, man. All you have to do is just, and I know you would do this, but make sure you have good grammar and just say how much it would mean to them, because they might get a lot of requests, but if you really speak from the heart and explain why they should come on, man, I would say 80% of the time it'll happen.
Dude, that's cool. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you calling in, man. You know what? And real quick, while I got you on the phone, spit out some credentials. Where do we find you on Twitter? I see it's what is it? Ryan Hoppe Radio at Ryan Hoppe Radio on Twitter.
It's at Ryan Hoppe Radio, and this is the most important